All right, so today we're diving deep into Brazilian wines,
Huh?
but not just any wines.
Yeah.
We're talking table wines.
Right.
You gave me a pretty hefty reading list on this,
I did.
so I'm really excited to unpack this with you.
Great.
So we're going beyond just kind of the swirling and sipping.
Okay.
We're going to uncover traditions,
Yeah.
the unique grapes that you really won't find anywhere else,
Yeah.
and a market that I think is poised to just explode.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you know that Brazil even has its own grapes? Like the Isabel grape
Yes.
makes this wine called sangue de bois, which
Yeah.
for those of us who don't speak Portuguese, that's bull's blood.
That's right.
So are you intrigued?
Very much so.
I am too.
Yeah.
Let's get this deep dive flowing.
I'm ready when you are.
So maybe you can start us off by explaining what makes Brazilian table wines so unique.
Sure. So what's really interesting is that Brazilian table wine
Okay.
is actually legally defined. And that definition really kind of shapes a lot of its character.
Yeah.
So in Brazil, it's simply fermented grape juice.
Okay.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
It can be made with those classic European Vitis vinifera grapes or American and hybrid grapes.
Okay, wait. American grapes
Yeah.
in Brazilian wine.
Yeah.
This is a curveball I was not expecting.
Yeah.
So tell me more about this.
So it's a fascinating story.
Okay.
Because Brazil's climate and kind of the unique path
Yeah.
its winemaking
Okay.
led to the use of grapes like Vitis labrusca and all sorts of really interesting hybrids.
Okay, so let's start with that Vitis labrusca.
Right.
What are we dealing with here?
Okay, well, the Isabel grape
Okay.
is like the rock star of Brazilian table wine.
Okay.
It is the most popular variety.
Okay.
You'll find it in everything, from those kind of like homemade wines that people make to jams and everything.
Yeah.
It's known for a really rich color and a taste that has this kind of slight herbal touch to it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty unique.
So it's like a very versatile grape, it sounds like.
Yeah, very versatile.
Okay, so any other stars in this Vitis labrusca lineup?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There's the Bordeaux grape,
Uh-huh.
sometimes called the Ives grape.
Okay.
And this one's kind of a chameleon.
Okay.
It makes appearances in both red wines and juices.
Oh.
And then there's the Concord,
Okay.
which you might know from that kind of like
Yeah.
iconic grape juice flavor.
Yeah.
It even has that distinct foxy aroma that's a real characteristic of Labrusca grapes.
Foxy.
Foxy.
Okay. What does a foxy smell like?
It's kind of like a mix of earthy,
Uh-huh.
musky scents,
Okay.
almost like animal fur.
Interesting.
It can be a little polarizing.
Okay.
Some people love it,
Uh-huh.
some people not so much, but it's a definite trademark.
Okay.
And then lastly, we got the Niagara.
Okay.
This is the top white grape in Brazil. Delicious on its own, but also the backbone of juices and kind of like those lighter, refreshing white wines that you might have on a hot day.
Okay, so we've got a whole spectrum of flavors going on here.
I do.
What about those hybrid grapes you talked about?
Yeah.
Were they created in a lab or something?
Not quite a lab, but pretty close.
Okay.
Hybrids come from basically combining different grape species
Uh-huh.
to get like the best of both worlds.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the idea was to breed grapes that were tough,
Okay.
like resistant to diseases, resistant to pests,
Uh-huh.
but that could still deliver top-notch fruit.
Okay.
One great example is the BRS Cora.
Okay.
This was developed by Embrapa, which is the Brazilian Agricultural Research Corporation.
Wow.
And this grape, it's like it laughs in the face of disease.
Okay.
Produces these really bold, spicy red wines.
So it's like the superhero of grapes then.
It is.
Disease resistant and delicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's also the BRS Violeta,
Okay.
another Embrapa creation. And the aroma on this one is really something else.
Okay.
It's like fresh berries
Yeah.
intertwined with like delicate violet blossoms.
Wow.
It has serious potential for fine wines, I think.
Okay.
And then we can't forget the Sable family of grapes.
Okay.
These guys are all over Brazilian table wines and juices.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
tons of them.
Wow. Okay, so we've got Isabel,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Bordeaux,
Concord,
Concord, Niagara,
Niagara,
BRS Cora,
BRS Cora, and Villeta,
BRS Violeta,
and the Seaballs.
and these Sebles.
Yeah,
That's a lot of grapes.
it is a lot of grapes.
It already seems like Brazilian table wine
Mm-hmm.
is its own unique world,
Yeah.
but it's not just about the grapes, is it?
No, it's not.
How does all of this fit into Brazilian culture?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because it's,
Yeah.
more than just about the drink itself. Right?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Table wine in Brazil is really deeply ingrained in everyday life.
Okay.
It's more than just a drink. It's about family memories, celebrations. It's kind of a connector.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Wine is a thread through generations.
Yeah.
So how does that play out?
Okay, well, picture this.
Okay.
You have a big family gathering.
Uh-huh.
Everyone's laughing. Food's on the table.
Yeah.
And on the table sits a vinho de garrafão.
A what?
A vinho de garrafão.
Okay.
So this is this large glass jug
Okay.
full of wine. It's affordable.
Okay.
It's full of that familiar taste that you'll find in most homes, especially in the south and southeast of Brazil.
Okay.
It's practically a symbol of hospitality.
So like the heart of the Brazilian celebration is right there in that jug.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just stop there.
Yeah, okay.
You'll find table wine at festivals all across the country.
Uh-huh.
So at Festas Juninas,
Okay.
you'll be sipping on Quentin, which is this hot, spiced wine drink.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have the grape harvest festivals,
Ah.
where wine is the guest of honor.
I'm getting some serious FOMO right now.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so where did this deep connection to wine come from?
So it goes back to the 19th century
Yeah.
and those Italian and German immigrants
Okay.
we've talked about.
Uh-huh.
They brought their winemaking traditions with them,
Yeah.
and it blossomed in Brazil and really became a part of the country's identity.
It's amazing how something as simple as wine can carry so much history and cultural weight.
It is.
But in today's world, it's not just about tradition.
Right.
It's about the market, too. So what's the state of play for Brazilian table wines in a world that seems obsessed with fancy labels and high price tags?
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting, I think. I think Brazilian table wines are at a crossroads,
Okay.
facing both exciting opportunities and some serious challenges.
Okay, lay it on me.
Okay, so the Brazilian consumer is changing.
Okay.
They're becoming much more adventurous with their palates, looking for quality and sophistication. That goes beyond just kind of those simple traditional wines.
Yeah. I can see that tastes evolve.
Yeah.
Right? And people have more options now, so they kind of raise their standards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you also have the competition from those fine wines
Yeah.
that are often seen as more prestigious or gourmet.
Right. So how does Brazilian table wine stand out?
Yeah.
Where does it fit?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
I think the challenge is that table wine hasn't really been presented as a unique, distinctly Brazilian product with its own story to tell.
Okay.
So there's a bit of an identity crisis going on.
It's like a diamond in the rough.
It
It's
is.
just waiting to be polished.
Yeah.
But there are opportunities in this.
Oh,
That
there's
is
tons
so-
of opportunities.
Okay.
So for starters, Brazilian table wine have that rich cultural heritage and tradition that we've just talked about.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful story to share.
I could see that resonating with people who are looking for authentic experiences.
Exactly. And then, of course, you have that incredible diversity of grapes that we talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
So there's a whole world of unique flavor profiles
Yeah.
that are just waiting to be explored.
It's like, hey, world,
Yeah.
forget boring.
Yeah.
Brazilian table wine is where the fun's at.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And, why stop there?
Okay.
Why not create new styles of table wine?
Okay.
Sparkling table wines,
Okay.
rosés, lower alcohol options,
Okay.
all rooted in tradition,
Yeah.
but with a modern twist.
Thinking outside the Garrafound.
Exactly.
Okay. But I feel but coming.
So you're right.
Yeah.
There's one crucial ingredient for success, and that's quality.
Uh-huh.
If Brazilian table wine wants to play on the global stage,
Yeah.
quality has to be non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
And that means embracing technology,
Okay.
refining those techniques, and just making sure that every single bottle is something that Brazil can be proud of.
So we're talking about taking these time-honored traditions and giving them like a 21st century upgrade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you have that quality, you got to shout about it.
Okay.
Strategic marketing is
Yeah.
key.
Okay.
It's about telling the story, highlighting that versatility, showcasing that Brazilian soul,
Yeah.
getting people excited.
Making people crave a taste of Brazil in every bottle.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so are you ready
Yes,
to raise a glass to quality?
I am.
Because it sounds like elevating those production standards is really vital for the future of Brazilian table wine.
Absolutely.
Okay, so lead the way.
All right,
I'm ready to learn how we take these wines from good to exceptional.
let's do it. Well, it all starts with raising the bar at every stage,
Okay.
from the grapevines themselves
Uh-huh.
to those beautifully labeled bottles. So, we're talking about embracing technology to help us, control the temperature during fermentation, choosing the right yeasts that can really bring out those flavors, make those wines sing.
So we're blending those old ways with some high-tech wizardry.
We are.
Okay, I like it.
But how does that actually play out in the process?
So think about it like this.
Okay.
Modern winemaking techniques can actually give those more traditional wines a serious makeover.
Okay.
So, for example, we can use a method like carbonic maceration to create lighter, fruitier red wines. So you get like this burst of summer berries in your glass. And then there's oak aging, which can add layers of complexity and aroma. You get those vanilla notes, spice, maybe even a hint of toast.
So it's like a VIP upgrade.
It is.
For these old school wines.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. But, presentation matters too, right?
It does.
Well, yeah.
You eat with your eyes first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about those labels?
Yeah, what about the labels? So those labels need to be eye-catching.
Okay.
But they also need to tell a story. So, think clear information about where the wine comes from.
Yeah.
Its origin story, what makes it unique. We want those labels to draw people in.
Yeah.
Make them curious to take a sip.
It's creating an experience, not just selling a bottle.
Exactly.
Okay, but before we get ahead of ourselves, I really want to rewind a bit.
Okay.
You mentioned those wine regions.
Yes.
Serra Gaucha.
Yes.
Campagna Gaucha. These names just roll off the tongue.
They do.
Can we take a virtual tour?
Consider this your all-access pass to Brazil's wine country.
Excellent.
All right.
I'm all ears, or all taste buds.
Where to first?
Where are we headed first?
Our first stop is Serra Gaucha.
Okay.
The heartland of Brazilian winemaking.
Okay.
Picture rolling hills. A touch of Italian flair. This is where those traditional Sangue de Bois wines, made from Isabel grapes, come from.
Okay.
And it's not just wine.
Okay.
This region is a juice powerhouse.
Really?
With Concord and Niagara grapes leading the charge.
So it's steeped in tradition.
Yeah.
But it's also pumping out those juice boxes we all know and love.
That's right.
Fascinating. Okay. Where to next?
Let's crank up the heat a little bit.
Okay.
And head south to Campagna Gaucha.
Okay.
So this region has a warmer, drier vibe.
Okay.
And it's really becoming known for its bold, full-bodied reds and those delicate rosés.
Oh, nice.
Keep an eye out for wineries like Campos de Tima and Peruzzo.
Writing that down.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got traditional, we've got bold.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a region for like the white wine lovers out there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Next stop, Serra Catarinense.
Okay.
Cooler here, higher altitude, stunning scenery. And these conditions create the perfect stage for those white wines with those crisp, citrusy aromas that just scream refreshment. Wineries like Villaggio Grande and Thera are really making waves in this region.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here.
Okay.
Brazil has a wine for every taste.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But are there any surprises in store?
Oh, there's always surprises.
Okay.
Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
We're going to the Valle do San Francisco.
Wait.
Yes.
A wine region in a semi-arid area?
You heard that right.
That's incredible.
A wine region.
Wow.
In a semi-arid area.
I have no idea.
They've figured out how to make it work with irrigation.
Okay.
And the wines here, often made with grapes like Italia and Patricia, have this really unique character that reflects that kind of challenging climate.
Wow. So it's like resilience in a bottle.
It is.
Okay. A desert wine region?
Yeah.
That's incredible. But I'm guessing those are just a few highlights.
We've only scratched the surface. Brazil has this whole constellation of emerging wine regions.
Okay.
Pernambuco, Bahia, São Paulo, Minas Gerais.
Wow.
Each one adding its own unique flavor to the mix.
It seems like Brazil just keeps on surprising when it comes to wine.
It does.
Okay, but before we get too carried away talking about all these different regions, I kind of want to zoom in on the actual production process.
Okay.
What does it actually take to make a great table wine?
Yeah.
Even if it's not, destined for some fancy wine shop.
You're asking all the right questions.
Okay.
So every stage, from choosing that vineyard site to that final cork pop, requires careful attention to detail.
Okay, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
All right.
Walk me through it.
Okay. So it all starts with finding the perfect spot to plant those vines.
Okay.
So this is where terroir comes in.
Okay.
Climate, altitude, the soil type, how much sunlight it gets.
Okay.
Even the wind. All of these things create kind of a fingerprint for the wine.
And those regional differences we talked about?
Yeah.
Those play a huge role here.
A huge role.
Yeah.
Each region has its own unique mix of these factors.
Okay.
Which is what makes Brazilian wine so diverse and exciting.
Okay, so we found our dream spot.
Okay.
What's next?
Now it's time to get our hands dirty.
Okay.
And prep the soil.
Okay.
A healthy vineyard starts with healthy soil. So we're talking about analyzing that soil.
Okay.
Adjusting the pH, adding nutrients if needed.
Okay.
And making sure that water can drain away properly.
So it's giving those vines like the best possible start in life.
Exactly.
Okay, but then we got to decide which grapes to plant, right?
Yeah.
American, hybrid, vinifera.
Right.
How do you choose?
That's where the winemaker's expertise comes in.
Okay.
They need to think about what's going to thrive in that specific region.
Okay.
What can handle the climate, the soil,
the
whole shebang, and then also the style of wine they're going for will also influence the grape choice.
So it's like a matchmaking game almost.
It is.
Finding the perfect grape for the perfect place.
Yeah.
Okay, so once those vines are in the ground, though,
yes,
the work doesn't stop there.
No, not even close.
Okay.
Next up, we've got to train those vines.
Train them.
Yeah, you got to guide their growth.
Okay.
Shape them, prune them.
Okay.
Make sure they're producing the best possible grapes.
I've always wondered about pruning.
Yeah.
Why is it so important?
So it's all about channeling the vine's energy.
Okay.
And making sure it's focused on quality, not quantity. So there's all these different training systems that are used.
Okay.
Depending on the grape variety, the terrain, and then the pruning techniques, from shaping those young vines to maximizing yield later on, are just crucial for producing top-notch fruit.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an art and a science.
It is.
Okay. What about those pesky pests and diseases?
Oh, yeah.
How do you keep those vines healthy?
So managing the canopy,
Okay.
all those leaves and shoots is key.
Okay.
It's all about balancing sunlight and ventilation. Too many leaves,
Okay.
grapes don't ripen properly,
Okay.
not enough, and they get sunburned. So we might thin out some of the clusters too, to make sure the vine's energy is focused on fewer but higher quality grapes.
It's like you're a vine surgeon almost.
Yeah.
Making these very precise cuts to optimize growth.
Exactly.
And I imagine you have to be like constantly on high alert for any signs of disease.
Absolutely. You got to have your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
So, choosing resistant grape varieties is a great place to start, but we also have to be proactive.
Okay.
We'll use preventative treatments to protect the vines from insects and diseases.
Okay.
It's a constant battle.
Yeah.
But worth it.
To keep those vines healthy and happy?
To keep those vines healthy.
Yeah.
And producing delicious grapes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much care and attention goes into each and every grape.
It is.
Okay. But then comes the big moment.
Harvest time.
Harvest time.
Yes.
What's that like?
Harvest is the culmination of all that hard work.
Yeah.
The moment of truth.
Yeah.
But even just determining the perfect time to pick those grapes is a science.
Okay.
We're checking sugar levels, acidity, those phenolic compounds that give the wine its complexity.
Okay.
It's all about finding that sweet spot where the grapes are at their absolute best.
So it's not just about picking grapes. It's about analyzing them, understanding them.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got these baskets brimming with juicy grapes.
Yes.
What happens next?
All right, that's where the real alchemy begins.
Okay.
Are you ready to step inside the winery?
Absolutely.
And witness the transformation.
Let's uncork the secrets of winemaking.
All right, so the moment those grapes arrive at the winery, it's all about quality control.
Okay.
We're talking sorting, destemming, crushing, getting those precious juices ready for their transformation.
So it's a meticulous process.
It is.
Just making sure that only the best of the best makes it into the wine.
Absolutely.
Okay, what does that look like?
Okay, so first we sort through those grapes.
Sure.
Like a jeweler inspecting precious stones.
Okay.
We're looking for perfect specimens. Free from any imperfections.
Okay.
No bruised, unripe, or less than perfect grapes allowed.
Wow. I can imagine that's quite the task.
It can be a huge task.
Yeah, especially for large harvests.
Especially for large harvests.
Yeah.
Some wineries are now using, high-tech sorting tables.
Oh, wow.
Or even optical sorting machines.
Wow.
To help with the process.
Okay.
But whether it's done by hand or by machine, the goal is the same.
Yeah.
Pristine grapes for a pristine wine.
Okay, so the sorting's done.
Right.
What about de-stemming?
De-stemming.
I'm guessing the stems don't add too much in terms of flavor?
You got it.
Okay.
We remove those stems to avoid any unwanted bitter or astringent flavors.
Makes sense.
And then comes the crushing.
Okay.
But it's more of a gentle pressing than a full-on crush.
Okay.
The aim is to just break open the grape skins.
Okay.
Release those juices, the must, without damaging the seeds.
So firm but gentle.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, coaxing those flavors out.
Yeah. Are we talking about like the, iconic image of people stomping grapes with their feet?
You're not wrong.
Okay.
Foot treading is a very traditional method, still used in some places.
Okay.
But these days, most wineries are going to use, modern rollers or pneumatic presses. These machines give the winemaker that really precise control over the pressure.
Okay.
Which helps to make sure that those delicate flavors are preserved.
It's so interesting how tradition and technology just kind of come together in the winemaking process.
They do.
Okay, so once we have the must,
yes,
is it straight to fermentation?
Not quite.
Okay.
Before those yeasts get to work, we need to protect the must from spoilage.
Okay.
And that's where sulfiting comes in.
Sulfiting. Okay. Is that where the sulfites in wine come from?
That is exactly where the sulfites come from.
Okay.
So a small amount of sulfur dioxide,
okay,
SO2, is added to the must. And this acts as a natural preservative, protecting the wine from oxidation.
Okay.
And those unwanted bacteria that can spoil the party.
So it's like giving the wine a shield.
Exactly.
To protect its deliciousness.
Yeah.
Okay, but is that the only adjustment that might happen at this stage?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
So sometimes the winemaker might need to tweak the must's acidity or sugar levels to create the perfect balance for fermentation. It's all about fine-tuning those elements to make sure we get a smooth and delicious outcome.
It's like a chef adjusting their recipe.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So now we're ready for the main event.
Yeah.
Fermentation.
Fermentation time.
I have to admit, this is the part I'm most curious about.
Yeah, it's where the magic happens.
Yeah. How does that simple grape juice transform into wine?
So fermentation is where the real magic happens.
Okay.
And it's all thanks to these tiny little powerhouses.
Okay.
Yeasts.
Yeasts, okay.
These microscopic fungi are the unsung heroes of winemaking.
Okay, so break it down for me. Wow. What role do those yeasts play in this transformation?
So yeasts are actually already present on the grape skins and in the winery.
Okay.
But winemakers often choose to add specific cultivated yeasts to ensure consistency and control over the final flavor profile.
So it's like choosing the right spice blend for your dish?
Exactly.
Different yeasts, different flavors?
Different yeasts, different flavors.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating world of microbial diversity.
Wow.
And winemakers are getting really creative with yeast selection these days.
That's cool.
But the basic process is this.
Okay.
Yeasts consume the sugar in the must, and they convert it into alcohol, carbon dioxide, and a whole host of compounds that create the wine's aroma and flavor and complexity.
So it's like this microscopic symphony happening in the fermentation vessel.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It's pretty amazing.
So how does the winemaker control this process? Right. What are the key factors?
Temperature is crucial.
Temperature, okay.
Think of it like Goldilocks.
Okay.
Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. Cooler temperatures slow down fermentation.
Okay.
Which helps to preserve those delicate fruit aromas.
Okay.
Whereas warmer temperatures speed things up, often leading to a bolder, more robust wine.
Okay.
So winemakers are constantly monitoring
Yeah.
and adjusting the temperature to guide the process.
Okay.
And achieve the desired style.
So they're like the conductor of this orchestra of flavors?
They are.
But temperature is not the only factor, is it?
Not the only factor.
Okay.
Time is another key player.
Time. Okay.
So fermentation can take anywhere from, a few days to several weeks.
Wow.
Depending on the grape variety, the yeast that's used, the style of wine being made.
It's a delicate dance.
It is.
Of science and intuition.
It really is.
Wow, it's amazing how many variables are involved.
Lots of variables.
In this process.
Yeah.
Okay, so once that fermentation is done, is the wine ready to be bottled?
Not quite.
Okay.
There are a few more steps to ensure that the wine is clear, stable, ready to age gracefully in the bottle.
Okay, so let's talk about those finishing touches.
Okay.
What happens after the yeasts have done their job?
All right, so first we need to clarify the wine. So think of this as like a gentle purification process, removing any solid particles that might be floating around, like leftover yeast cells, bits of grape skins, proteins. You know, we want that wine to be crystal clear.
So it's like polishing a gem.
It is.
Yeah, revealing its inner brilliance.
Exactly. But how do you achieve that clarity?
So there's a few techniques. The simplest is racking. So we carefully transfer the wine from one vessel to another, leaving any sediment that's settled at the bottom behind. But sometimes we need to call in reinforcements. So finding agents like bentonite clay or egg whites can actually help to bind with those stubborn particles.
Interesting.
And make them easier to remove.
It's like a microscopic cleanup crew.
It is.
Getting rid of any unwanted clutter.
Yeah.
But clarification isn't the only step, is it?
No, it's not.
A
lot of wines will also go through filtration.
Yeah. Think of it like a fine sieve. Removing even the tiniest particles to create that truly polished look. That silky smooth texture.
So it's about achieving that perfect visual appeal.
Absolutely.
But I'm guessing it also has a practical purpose.
It does. So it helps to stabilize the wine, preventing any unwanted cloudiness or sediment from forming in the bottle later on.
Right, because nobody wants to open a bottle and find like a surprise layer of gunk at the bottom.
Not at all. No.
So we've clarified. We've filtered. What else is there?
One last step. Stabilization. This ensures that the wine stays clear and bright. Even after, months or years in the bottle. One technique is cold stabilization. Where we chill the wine down to encourage those harmless tartrate crystals.
Yeah, those little sparkly bits.
Exactly.
You sometimes see in wine.
Yes. To precipitate out.
It's like giving the wine a little spa treatment.
It is.
Making sure it stays fresh and vibrant.
Yes.
Okay, so after all this, we're finally ready to bottle the wine.
We are. What a journey.
It's a long journey.
Okay, so let's talk bottling.
Okay.
What are the key things to consider at this stage?
All right, so first.
Is it as simple as just filling up the bottles, slapping a label on, and calling it a day?
There's a little bit more to it than that. So first, those bottles need to be spotless. Sterile even, to prevent any contamination. And then it's all about minimizing oxygen exposure during the filling process.
Yeah, oxygen's like the party crasher here.
Exactly. Oxygen is the enemy when it comes to preserving a wine's freshness.
But once those bottles are filled, how do you kind of seal the deal?
So the cork is the final touch. It creates that airtight seal. But it also allows for a tiny bit of oxygen exchange over time. Which can actually help the wine to age gracefully. And then, of course, there's the labeling.
The labeling, yes.
Which is where the wine's personality really shines through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Giving it its final outfit, ready for the grand debut.
But with all this focus on the technical side of things, I'm curious about the sensory experience. How do winemakers ensure that those table wines actually taste good? Is it just personal preference, or is there a science to this as well?
Sensory analysis is a huge part of winemaking. It's really where science meets art. And it's how we make sure that those wines are hitting all the right notes.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about the sensory evaluation. How does a winemaker actually assess a wine's quality?
So it's a combination of trained senses and objective analysis. So we start with the visual assessment. We're checking the wine's color. Is it vibrant? Is it true to the grape variety? Its clarity? And its intensity.
So like a deep ruby red might tell you it's a rich Cabernet Sauvignon.
Exactly.
And then a pale straw-colored wine might be like a crisp Sauvignon Blanc.
Exactly. So the color gives us clues about the wine's character and potential. We're also looking for clarity. A clear, bright wine is a sign of quality. And then the intensity of the color can tell us about the wine's concentration and body.
So the visual assessment is all about those first impressions. But then we move on to the aroma.
Yes, the nose. So swirling the wine in the glass releases those aromatic compounds. And then we take a deep inhale
Uh-huh.
Exploring the bouquet.
Yeah.
What fruits do you smell? Flowers, spices, earthiness?
It's like perfume for the palate.
It is.
But how do you know if a wine's aroma is good or bad?
Right.
Are there any red flags?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So unpleasant aromas, like vinegar, sulfur, or mustiness, can actually be a sign of spoilage or problems in the winemaking process.
Okay.
So we're looking for clean, fresh aromas that reflect the grape variety and the terroir.
Okay. I'm starting to understand the complexity of this sensory evaluation. But
Finally.
The
taste test.
Yeah.
This is where it all comes together.
Yeah.
So we're assessing the sweetness, acidity tannins for red wines, the alcohol level, the body, the finish, all those elements that create a harmonious, balanced experience.
So you're like the conductor again, making sure everything's in tune.
Exactly.
But with all these subjective elements, how do you ensure consistency and objectivity?
So that's where the science comes back into the picture. So physicochemical analyses provide objective data about the wine's composition. Alcohol content, acidity, sugar levels, and so on.
So you combine those sensory impressions with hard data to create a complete picture.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
But once the wine is bottled and ready to go, how does it find its way to our tables?
Yeah, that's where marketing comes in.
All right, so let's dive into the world of wine marketing.
All right.
How do you get those bottles onto the shelves and into those shopping carts?
All right, so it all starts with understanding the rules of the game.
Okay.
So Brazil has specific regulations that govern how wines can be labeled and marketed. So producers need to make sure they're playing by the book.
Okay, so let's talk labels.
Yes.
So it sounds like Brazilian table wine is on the verge of something big.
I think so.
But what does that actually look like?
Right.
How do these wines break out of their shell, capture the attention of the world?
So that's the challenge and the opportunity,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
It's about showcasing what makes Brazilian table wine unique, playing to its strengths, and telling those stories that resonate with people.
Okay, so let's get strategic.
Okay.
If you were leading the charge for Brazilian table wine, where would you focus your energy?
Okay, well, I would start by highlighting that incredible diversity that we've talked about. You know, the range of grapes, the regional variations, the styles.
Yeah.
There's a Brazilian table wine out there.
Okay.
For every palate and occasion.
So it's about moving beyond that kind of one-size-fits-all approach?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And really showcasing the nuances.
Yeah, okay.
And then I would tap into that cultural richness.
Okay.
Those traditions, those stories, that sense of shared experience that comes with Brazilian table wine.
Yeah.
You know, it's about creating an emotional connection, not just selling a product.
Yeah, make people feel like they're experiencing a piece of Brazil
Exactly.
with every sip.
That's it.
Okay. And of course, quality is paramount.
Quality has to be there.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that every bottle lives up to the hype, delivers on that promise of a really unique and delicious experience.
So consistency, reliability.
Yes.
Make sure that first sip makes people want to come back for more.
That's right.
Okay.
And then we can't forget about innovation.
Okay.
Let's explore new styles, new blends, new ways of expressing those Brazilian flavors.
Sparkling table wines.
Yes.
Intriguing rosés.
Why not?
Maybe even some lower alcohol options.
Absolutely.
Like the possibilities are endless.
The sky's the limit.
I'm feeling inspired.
Good.
But all this talk about strategy and marketing makes me wonder, what can we as consumers do to support this movement? How can we help Brazilian table wine shine?
So that's a great question.
Yeah.
First and foremost, be adventurous.
Okay.
Seek out these wines.
Okay.
Try different varieties. Explore those different regions.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And discover something new.
Expand our palates.
Yes.
Embrace the unexpected.
Exactly.
Okay, what?
When you find a wine you love, tell people about it.
Okay.
Share your discoveries with friends, with family, on social media.
Yeah.
Spread the word. Help create that buzz around Brazilian table wine.
Word of mouth is powerful.
It really is.
It's about creating a community of enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Sharing those aha moments.
Exactly.
Spreading the love.
That's right.
Okay.
And don't underestimate the power of asking for these wines at your local shops and restaurants.
Okay.
You know, the more demand there is,
yeah,
the more likely they are to stock these gems.
it's about voting with our wallets.
Yes.
And showing those retailers that we're serious about exploring this world.
Yep, exactly.
Well, this deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me. I feel like I've learned a ton, but I've also been really inspired to seek out and support these wines.
I'm glad.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I'm feeling energized.
Yeah.
I think Brazilian table wine has so much to offer, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds.
I think we've covered just about everything.
Heck, that's so.
So for those of you tuning in, we hope this deep dive has given you a taste of the vibrant and exciting world of Brazilian table wine.
It is exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
So now it's your turn.
That's right.
Get out there, try some of these wines,
Yeah.
discover your own favorites.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to share your thoughts and discoveries with us on social media.
We'd love to hear.
Cheers to Brazilian table wine.
Cheers.